Welcome to the Mass Singers Management Chat. And today I'm talking with no one else and no one less than Pablo himself. So Pablo is a guy I met probably a year or two ago now in the US, and basically we hit it off straight away. And the reason why I want to talk with Pablo today is really because he's working on a new exciting concept. Pablo, would you mind just starting out, just giving everyone a little bit of view of your background and then telling us a little bit about your new exciting concept?
Yeah, man. Mads, thank you for having me, bud. It's always a great pleasure for me anytime I get to connect with you. Like you said, we met about a year and a half ago, and we didn't really talk much for a while there, right? Well, like we'd communicate sporadically, and now that I'm working with you, man, it's really added a ton of value to my life being able to, be in consistent contact with you, man. So anyways, I appreciate this opportunity. A little bit about me. I'm obsessed with being friends with everybody I meet. And I think that's how we met, right? I've always been obsessed with human connection. From a young age, when I moved across 3 different continents before the age of 9, I always had this feeling of entering something from an outsider position and knowing that I needed to connect and needed to get in. And it's really helped me along my life to the point where I am now convinced that the future of business development is community creation. And I realized this because I started in the construction industry, where I went from a Fortune 500 company as an operator doing very well, to then starting my own green building consulting company, to then that getting acquired by a big hospital builder and a hospital builder and a university builder, going in-house as director of sustainability, and then starting to lose my value to this large operation. And the way that I was able to increase my value and retain my my career track when it stalled was because I had created these communities of young professionals in Miami, and I was able to leverage those to become a business developer. Then I was able to take that experience, get into a partnership with a software company that was kind of in a tailspin when I jumped in as VP of business development. And the way I rescued it was, again, community creation. And I'm not getting too specific because I'm sure we're going to dive into some details here, but essentially, I've been able to prove this out now in construction without knowing what I was really doing, in software, now deliberately implementing it. And now I've launched a new venture to do this as a service for people, to do third-party mastermind services for companies, because I think that people are getting more and more used to the idea of being part of a mastermind. But if we can flip that switch and show you the value of you hosting your own mastermind and how I can enable that for people, having done this now a couple of times, I think I can create inordinate value for the customer, for their customers, and I get to be on this track where I want to be known as the guy that proves to the world that the value of community creation is, the way that we're going to save the world, but I want to start with showing how it can make you money.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And really, I mean, that's why I wanted to talk with you today, right? Because reality is I'm a coach myself, and I love masterminding. I have a ton of sort of colleagues, or whatever you would call it in this industry, not just coaches, but I mean business owners and so on, who are really, really experts at what they do. And fundamentally, I mean, a lot of the very successful guys I know, they already run masterminds. But I think for a lot of people, it's a big whoa, what does it take? How am I going to do it, etc. And that's why I thought your service offering was so interesting and very unique. I mean, I've never heard of anyone doing this before, which is one of the reasons why I thought this was so super interesting, right? So do you want to try and talk us through just sort of what you do and just how you structure it normally?
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm going to give whoever's listening to this or watching this, and you, of course, Mads, I'm going to give you the full formula, man. It's not a big secret, right? People are out there doing it. It's just mentally daunting, right? Like I came into this software company and he had kind of tried to start a mastermind, and it was just flailing because you're very busy as a business owner to devote your attention to it. But it's not super complicated. At the crux of all of this is the fact that everybody has inordinate value. Everybody has some kind of magical value to offer to the world, right? There's this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that is, every man I meet is somehow my superior, and from that I can learn from them. And I live my life by this. So that's why I'm a fanatical networker. That's why I love meeting people. I really think my superpower is seeing the magic inside of each and every person that I meet. So that being said, when you are running a mastermind, you don't have to be the Superman of it all, right? You don't have to be the one solitary star of it all. All you have to do is have a platform where you're able to suss out everybody's individual value and share it to each other. And the way that works is the way that people bond is two ways. Or you can bond in a lot of ways, right? You're an expert in this stuff too. But for me, shared vulnerability and adding value to someone's life is two very, very quick ways that you bond with people. So if you set up a mastermind format where you are scheduling regular meetings within a group of people that are talented people that are your customers, that's at the top of your customer base, and you're enabling for them to, number one, show their pain points and ask for some advice, and number two, have everybody give them some advice, then you're doing both things, right? You're showing shared vulnerabilities because all these business owners, all these people all struggle with similar issues, but each one of them is particularly good at one thing or another, right? So we're all business owners. Somebody out there is really good at outsourcing, Mads. You know, somebody is really good at processes, right? I'm basically describing all of your skill sets, but most people have a bunch of different unique skill sets that everybody spent a little bit of extra time doing one thing or another, right? I've spent my whole life figuring out how to connect with people and how to get somebody to open up. And that's the way I'm deploying it. So what you do is you just set regular intervals, whether it's once a month, whether it's twice a month, either in person or live Zoom calls, where what you do is you provide a little bit of content, right, to get people going about what you're seeing in your business, about what you're learning about, a podcast you just listened to, an audiobook you're listening to, right? Like if you just read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, which is a great book I recommend to everybody, you can make a little presentation about, hey, these are the key points of how I learned to negotiate from this book. Let's go around the table, talk about it, right? The second part of the mastermind is, okay, now Mads, this week it's your turn. What are you struggling with? What have you seen out, you know, what are you obsessed with that you're struggling with right now? What have you done? What are your resources at your disposal? Express it to everybody, and then we go around the table giving you some advice. That's at the base of it. And what's going to happen very quickly, as long as you're able to moderate it well, people are going to start bonding because of this exchange of vulnerability and value. And pretty soon, they're going to want to get together in person somewhere. So now you have a source for live events. Once you do that live event, you're going to understand who's good in front of a crowd in person, right? So now you have a stable of public speakers that are all good at something that are inside your network that you can now reach out to a wider network, have a live event around, and you have speakers already built in that you don't really have to pay for. But what you're also doing for them is providing them a stage, providing them an audience, allowing them to refine their public speaking skills, one of the most valuable things that people can have. And it's all this waterfall that then also becomes digital marketing content. It becomes a feedback loop of consistently being in front of all your best customers and learning from their pain points and learning how to better serve them. It becomes essentially, and once you start deploying that marketing content, it becomes a very clear customer escalation ladder, right? So like if your customer journey now becomes somebody sees you because you put a small video on Instagram of Mads, let's say you're my client, right? And I have a video of you saying, I'm struggling with this part of my business. Hook. Are you having that issue with this part of your business? Right? You have that person's attention. They click in. They see your offer, whatever. They come in. Now they become a basic customer of yours. And then they start getting exposed to the fact that you have this elite group that's also at the top of your customer base. And you're slowly disseminating email storytelling, however your ongoing marketing to your existing customer base from stories that you get from within your mastermind. They start asking, oh, how can I be part of this, right? So like, then you can have it as a standalone product. Oh, it's $500 to be part of my mastermind group. It can be, oh, if you're on my diamond level of service, it's included in this. Or it can just be, if you're with me for a year and a half, 2 years, then you get to be in this customer group, right? So it becomes a way to reduce arbitrage inside your customer base as well, because you have this clear ladder of escalation where you're providing value to your customers at every step of the way.
Sure, and that makes a ton of sense. I mean, I've done, I was about to say hundreds of masterminds, and that's probably thereabouts. So yeah, I mean, the value is always phenomenal, and like so often, people are like, oh, no one can help me. And but when you sit down with a group of people, like there's always different people who can help with different perspectives and so on, right? So it always adds a ton of value when you do those sessions. So yeah, that's really excellent. Really excellent. So what exactly do you add to the equation? Like what do you do for a business owner that's looking to start a mastermind?
The devil is in the details, right? The key to making this thing work is, number one, being able to moderate it, right? A lot of people are not comfortable. If you're the business owner and your client has been talking for 5 minutes when he should have been talking or he's talking for 15 minutes when he should have been talking for 10 minutes, right? It's kind of a funny situation for you to be like, all right, Tim, you got to shut up. But if you have a professional moderator on board, that person is much easier to be like, hey man, this is it. Like he can get pissed off at me. He's not going to get pissed off at the business owner and take his business elsewhere, right? So that's number one, the moderation service. Number two, you're a busy business owner. You don't want to have to be coming up with the content, right? So I do this at scale, right? I'm managing multiple masterminds. I have a library of content, of stuff that I can present. I have years that I already did this in. So I already have this library of content, so we can set and forget that first 20-minute call that we can go about it. You can just show up to your own mastermind and you don't really have to worry about coordinating as much. Or I can work with you to create your own proprietary content, right? Like I can do different things. And then the third piece that really, really catalyzes, I don't know what's the word that I want to say, but like exaggerates the effects of all of this thing is for someone to be, after the call, looking at it and seeking those like real like nugget points of, hey, have you noticed that this person is really good at this? Hey, have you thought about using this piece for your marketing? I do that as well. And then I can also provide the actual editing of it, using it for the digital marketing piece. Or if you have your own in-house team, you can do it, right? There's multiple levels of service I can have. But the key to it is, number one, having the moderator. Number two, not having to think about it and having to like think about the content and showing up. And number three is having somebody that takes the time to actually review each call and pull out the gold nuggets out of it. So that's at the very basic level. That's what I do for you, right? It just takes it off of your plate and you're able to have this wonderful thing. If you want to do it yourself, like I said, man, I just gave you the formula.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. It sounds good. As I said, I'm very, very intrigued, right? Because I know a lot of people who definitely have the skill set and the audience to do this sort of thing. And yeah, I think most of them just feel too overwhelmed by the thought. So that's why I really wanted to talk with you today. And again, both put the thought of actually creating a mastermind in the head of more people, because I love them. But also really the ability to actually find someone who can help them do this thing, right? So super, super interesting. That's amazing, Pablo. And anything else around this concept that you haven't talked about yet, or anything else that you would like the audience to know about?
I like to talk about like the actual the long-term value of community creation. Right? Like I really think that we are headed into this world where, for one way or another, right? I used to be a sustainability expert. I was obsessed with teaching the world the importance of sustainability. And I am now at the point where I'm like, okay, the problems that are happening with sustainability are either going to get solved by technology or they're not, right? And I'm not that guy. I'm not going to invent the robo vacuum cleaner from Spaceballs that sucks out all the carbon from the atmosphere and replaces it with oxygen, right? But either way, whether it's because of sea level rise or it's just because humans are living longer and we only have this one planet and a certain amount of land mass, we're going to densify. And we have seen around the world very recently in the Syrian crisis what happens when a bunch of people start encroaching on each other, and the type of issues that happen in geopolitics and all this stuff. And I really strongly believe that if you can teach people that there is real value in everybody that you meet and in people that aren't like you, and learning from them, that is the key to solving the issues that will inevitably arise. And there's this concept from a 11th century Islamic scholar that I read about in this book called Laws of Human Nature, right? And it's that humanity has evolved in these 4 cycles that all correspond to 4 generations that come back to back to back to back. First generation, is the revolutionary generation, right? There is chaos happening in the world. There's this new dynamic. They need to go in. There's a big battle. There's big struggle. There's a lot of pain, but it's needed to establish a new world order, right? And out of these, all these great visionaries and all these leaders that we then, worship forever come out of it, like the George Washingtons and the Simon Bolivares of the world and people like that. The next generation, after having endured the struggle and having some sense of normalcy, is driven towards coexistence, right? It's driven towards, all right, guys, let's all just get along. Let's figure out some norms that we can all, agree upon so that we can all not have to endure the struggle. Remember how much it sucked? The next generation is so far removed from that struggle that they're driven by individualism, right? They're driven by material chases. They're driven by what can I get? Everybody's getting along. I want to get mine. That happens. And then the fourth generation comes along and they're freaked out by all the individualism that's going on. They think that everything has changed. We need a new world order. And they're like, what's going to happen? And that leads rides to the next to the revolutionary generation once again. And if you look at human history, we've gone through the cycle over and over from Roman times to now. And I think it's pretty clear that we're in that fourth generation right now, right? Like the U.S. election proved it, right? Everybody's like, we need to blow the system up and start it over, and that's the dude that won, the guy that's saying that message. And I think that that's coming because we're in this new world order of figuring out how this freedom of information and the internet and all this stuff and all this interconnectivity is going to affect everything. And I think that we're inevitably going to go through the struggle to figure out a new world order. But as long as we can continue to value each other and continue to seek out specifically intergenerational relationships of people that have gone through this stuff before and learn from them, maybe we can minimize a little bit of pain. So that's my long-term game, man. I'm here to try to save the world, but this is how I'm monetizing it.
One step at a time. One step at a time. Really excellent, Pablo. It was really great talking to you, and I wish you the best of luck. And again, I'll put this video up on our channel, and if my audience have any questions, I'll make sure to tag you in and so on, so you can help answer. So thank you very much for joining me here.
Mads, I just want to say, tell the truth. You're not just wishing me the best of luck. You're really, really helping me out in what you're doing with me, man. I really appreciate working with you. I think you're a great coach. It's made a really, really big. Just knowing you has made a big impact in my life, but now that we're working together and you're my business coach, it's really, really helped. So anything I can do to add value to your customer base, to your audience, to you in any way, man, I'm really grateful for the opportunity. And thanks for everything, buddy. I can't wait till we talk again.
Save the world. That will be enough for me.
Deal.
Thank you.
All right.